Hey guys, what's up? I am back again with another Mental Health Monday. So after the last one I posted, I got some really nice messages and stuff like that, and it really kind of encouraged me to kind of do more and continue with what I'm passionate about, doing this channel and also talking about mental health, which is, you know. So this week I decided that I'm going to just do a whole thing on self-harm because it's getting close to the summer. A lot of people who self-harm or have self-harmed in the past have scars and kind of don't really know what their place is at this time of year, and it can be a real source of struggle and sadness for people. So I just want to be here to kind of alleviate a little bit of that. So I guess I'm going to start with being confident, having your scars out. The way that I see it anyway, in my personal opinion, is that everybody has a scar for something. I mean, yours may be from self-harm, which is obviously a symptom of struggling with mental illness. Nobody can fault you for being sick, and I don't feel like it's anybody else's place to judge you for how you choose to cope with your struggles, hard times, whatever you want to call it. So I feel like you have to get in the mindset of there's nothing different with what's on my body in comparison to what is on somebody else's body. So, I feel like if someone does look at you for a long time, at least I like to be in the mind frame of that person's curious rather than judging. And I know it may be hard to feel like that. I personally am definitely plagued with feelings of going out in public or on nights out. Should I take my jacket off? Oh, I don't want people here to think that like I'm a sad freak or something like that. And those are genuinely what I think, but at the end of the day, I don't really care if they think that, because it's their heads and I will never have control over what other people think of me regardless of any situation. So I don't see why this one should be especially difficult for me. And also, as far as like scars are concerned specifically, it's kind of like a matter of this is now part of my body. Like, I can't chop off my arms, I can't chop off my legs. They are attached to me, and I don't think that I should feel disgusted or gross as a result of what's on my body. I mean, I feel like you could really link this back in with body positivity. You really just kind of have to accept yourself for the way that you are, and we are all results of kind of our life experiences, and our scars, I guess, tell stories, which I know is kind of cringy, but it's kind of in that sense of the word, that if you do have self-harm scars, that it's just part of your story, part of who you are, part of what's happened to you, just like anything that happens to us is. So I feel like, especially when it comes to hotter seasons, don't like feel forced to cover up, especially not for anyone else's sake. You should not worry about making other people feel uncomfortable. And it's like, well, I'm glad this like the way that I see it, I'm like, how can it bother someone more than it bothers you? I'm like, you actually like did that to yourself, like you went through it, so I just don't feel like you could cause anybody else more inconvenience than it had caused you. So I've just decided that we should not give a fuck. I have decided that I will not give a fuck. I am not going to hide or pretend that what has happened has not happened, that it's not there. And on another note, what to say to people when they ask you stupid questions. I personally try not to take it in an offensive way, or like, I just don't. Because I see it as a positive point to educate people, but not everybody wants to talk about it, not everybody wants to educate people, and it should be your right to not have to talk about all the horrible things that you've experienced, because nobody else has to go around talking about the shit that they've been through. So, first of all, you owe nobody any explanation. And second of all, even if someone asks, you can, one, ignore them, two, give them an excuse so ridiculous they kind of realize that it's not their place, and three, you can be honest, because talking about what it is isn't shameful. If you fell down and scraped your knee and someone asked you what happened, you wouldn't hesitate to tell them. So I guess you kind of have to find your own boundary and what makes you feel comfortable, and also kind of find the line between sharing and being open and what's too much information for a stranger, and what makes me feel comfortable and what will put me in a vulnerable position. And most importantly, prioritize your mental health, because I say all of this to say that you shouldn't care, but I know it's not that straightforward, and I can't even say that I'm like that in every scenario. But what I'm going to say is, don't put yourself also in a situation where you feel like the result of you putting yourself out there and being an honest, true version of yourself will have negative or a regressing impact on your mental health, because at the end of the day, you are the priority. So I'm just throwing out different options on what to do. And as far as accepting your body, you know, how it is now, scars and all, I feel like for me, and even though this is kind of cringy, I feel like it's important just to not let yourself think negative thoughts. And I'm one for big, intrusive, awful, ugly thoughts about myself and about pretty much anything that you could have ugly thoughts about. But I think, at least in the few moments that you do have control over how you're thinking, do not let those thoughts be negative ones. I don't love the way that I look. I don't love my body, and I definitely don't love my scars. But I've accepted that this is just who I am. And I'm allowed to be who I am. Like, I'm just allowed to exist the way that I exist. Nobody should expect anything of me. Just because people expect me not to have scars doesn't mean I don't. So I guess that's one of the things that I also try to think about. But yeah, definitely there are days where I do feel like self-conscious, and nobody would see any of my scars, not a chance, like. But I do kind of mix them up. I try to think positive thoughts. When I look in the mirror, I try not to focus on things about my body that I don't like, or specifically my scars in this case. And I try not to let kind of other people's comments on the fact that they are kind of, I can understand, intense to see when you don't really understand or have an understanding of why people do that. And finally, I think the last thing that I wanted to add is that for anyone who's watching this out of curiosity or of trying to better understand someone who self-harms, or somebody who has struggled with, or someone who has scars, or how to just be supportive, the best thing I can say is to not change a thing. Don't act differently, don't treat them differently, don't make them feel different. And if they ever express to you that they're feeling hesitant about showing whatever part of their body it may be with scars, then 100% be that motivator and that supporter and that listener, and also definitely just kind of be like, whatever you decide, I support you. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that you look. And I'm definitely very lucky to have friends who do that for me, who don't treat me different, who I never see look at me like I have 10 heads, like maybe I expect some strangers to. But I think that's the most important thing that you can do for somebody, and I think that's definitely the most important thing anyone's ever done for me, because if it feels like nobody else is seeing it, it's like they're not even there. I mean, something is only as big of a problem as you let it be, and it's only a thing, it's only the elephant in the room if you acknowledge it. Do you know what I mean? So I guess that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to rant into a camera. I wanted everybody to kind of feel like, fuck it, this is my body. I mean, I can't die, like, what are you gonna do about it? So I think what you can do about it is, rather than just spending time self-loathing and hating yourself, you can just try to work on your mental state and your emotional state. And I definitely 100% believe that as your mental health improves, the way you see yourself does improve as you're working on things day to day. Things like that kind of come along, you know, and you do have to be cautious and keep an eye and make sure that you're kind of healing in all the ways that you need to at once. But yeah, like, I just don't want anyone to feel like a freak this summer, or like they'll be judged, because at least I definitely won't be judging you. So that was the video. My hair looks so bad. Thank you for watching, and come back again watch more of my videos.